Welcome to Automotive World, everyone. I'm your host, Mystery, and we have some spy footage today. We have some more spy footage on a Kia pickup truck. Some of you may notice a little while ago on the channel when Kia was announcing the Tasman, we did have some spy footage on the Tasman of that roaming around in the streets. We're going to use a little bit of Motor One's article again here today because we have a Kia EV truck. Kia has said that they are going to make pickup trucks in multiple markets, potentially even one here eyeing the American market. This one here, we have some notable features from Motor One saying that which the headlights on here, they do look like from the EV9. It does look like it has Santa Cruz headlights. We do know by 2027, Kia did announce a little bit over a year ago that they plan to launch 2 electric trucks. We have seen, like I said, testing for both of them. This is the first time that we're seeing testing on this bigger one here. So let's get right into this and let's actually see what we can find here. Just before we start as well, this is the electric truck that we're about to see here. This one is the one that is supposed to be based off of the EV9 platform, as this is going to be an electric vehicle. Kia has stated all of this before, so more than likely this is probably going to be, this could potentially be a full-size truck. It might even be an in-betweener, kind of close to a Rivian, how the Rivian is kind of classified as a full-size truck, but in size-wise when you look at it, it's just a little bit bigger than a mid-size. But this is going to be somewhat of a larger vehicle than what we've seen from the Tasman, and it is going to be all electric. Also, if we saw in the bottom of the article there, just before we get into the video, we don't know where this is going to be built, so we don't know if we'll qualify for that federal tax credit, but let's see what we see here. And then I can't hear this right now, but I'll keep replaying this, that way if there is any, obviously it's electric, so there's not really going to be any noise. We can definitely see though, those headlights are very much from the Santa Cruz. We can see the T-shape in them. The size of them itself is Santa Cruz. The headlights itself are straight from the EV9. Size-wise, like I said, this is, you know, it is a decent sized vehicle. It doesn't necessarily look like it's to be, we can see like some shocks and things like that. It doesn't look like it's going to necessarily be a full size vehicle. We can definitely tell though it is bigger and it is longer than the Santa Cruz. It is a bit interesting when you look at the front shape. It's pretty much the EV9, but then when you come back here, it's like they just cut it off and put the Santa Cruz back there. So definitely it's definitely not, I don't think it's big enough to be a full-size truck from the looks of it. Definitely a mid-size though, and definitely looks to be on the longer side of a mid-size. We can't, obviously they do have a lot of it under wraps. We can tell it's a blue color. But we can't really see anything else. The windows are pretty much blacked out for the most part. Obviously this one too, they're not running it on any off-road tires or anything. These are just going to be normal street tires. It does look like, you know, the average size of a mid-sized truck. It doesn't necessarily look too big, but it does look a little bit longer than some. You see the headlights there. We do see some tow hooks here up front. I was looking to see if I could see any, you know, any tow hitches in the back there, which I'm sure obviously this vehicle would be able to be equipped with them. I do think I find it interesting how you're able to see on some of the paneling, you know, the truck was blue, but then they gave it white mirrors. That might just be something might have been something that whatever they had to test with it. You've got blacked out rims, we can see the brakes and everything. And like I said, we have seen the Tasman as well. You know, we have seen that spy footage as well. We can tell obviously that this is not the Tasman, just because a little bit of the size, but also we can tell in the headlights being 2 different distinct shapes. It looks to be that there is no tow hitch on this specific model. I'm sure they will offer it, but I'm sure right now, just for testing purposes on the road, they probably didn't have it. I do find it interesting that they have the tow hooks there. Let's see if we can see anything else. We're not really able to see too much from this, honestly. They've done a pretty good job at hiding stuff. I mean, we can see some, you know, shocks and springs and things like that. Size-wise, like I said, it looks like it's a little bit on the bigger size of a mid-size truck, but it definitely looks to be a mid-size. I don't know if I could classify it as a full-size truck anymore with how big full-size trucks have gotten. The front looks like you have a ton of space. The back kind of looks like any other mid-size truck. It doesn't necessarily look big. It looks a little bit on the smaller side, but that's kind of how they all are. It is a bit interesting here. I do find it interesting that, you know, they didn't, even though there is tow hooks on the small, that there's no tow hitch on the back there. I didn't see like a spare tire down there or anything either, so it'll be interesting to see whether they do keep a spare tire under it, or is that just for testing purposes, just to reduce the weight, or will they put it in the trunk, very much like, you know, Ridgelines and things, or, you know, other vehicles that put it underneath the bed. You got the lights there, but let's see, maybe if we can get pause in the right place there. Trying to see if we can see anything screen-wise, but so going off the glance of that, we can't really tell because of the reflections in the mirror, but it doesn't look like there's a huge screen in there or anything, or at least not one that's overhead above the dashboard. Kia has been known to also do some of their screens though across it, but I can't see any screens or anything. And like I said, we do have some reflections here in the window, but the only thing is if there was a screen there, we would still be able to see the brightness from the other screen, as these two windows are exposed and they're not really even tinted too much at all, if anything. So the fact that I can't see any brightness coming out of there, it also could just be that the screens are turned off because they may just not need it. It might not provide them any data. This would be a test vehicle as well, so maybe the infotainment really isn't loaded on there. Obviously, these are going to be predetermined routes and things like that. And obviously they'll know where the driver is and things like that. So it might just be that could be the reason why, but I don't see anything coming out of there. I wasn't really able to get anything else, obviously, you know, details within the vehicle. We do have a steering wheel, so they're not going to a yoke. We can say that, but we weren't able to get anything else necessarily out of that too much. But that is a bit interesting profile wise. Like I said, it is, if you ask me, the bed is, I mean, it looks like it looks like a mid-sizer to me. If this was, you know, maybe 5-10 years ago, I could say that was a full size, but it's just that back space doesn't, like I said, it doesn't look necessarily like the door is big, but it doesn't necessarily look like from where he's sitting here and where we can see his seat right here. So the seat is obviously right here, and then we know right here is where this seat is going to end. So just like every other mid-size truck, it is a little bit usually cramped in the back. So for that reason, size-wise, I would definitely say it probably isn't a full-size truck. It also, you know, especially with the full-size trucks here in America, the big three are very, very competitive in that space. So although it would be great to see another competitor enter the space, they more than likely wouldn't have a very welcome reception to it. It's a lot easier to sell a mid-size truck here in America, not just because of the big three, but also it's just because consumers want. It's, you know, they're better on space. You can park them in the garages more. They're a little bit easier to maneuver. Many of the mid-size trucks have just the perfect capability for people, you know, for what people need, especially compared to like when you look at towing numbers now from what old full-sizers used to tow, and just, you know, things like fuel and insurance and things. It's just the pickup size is really the mid-size is really exploding here in America. That's kind of what this looks like really to me. The only thing I did find interesting, like I said, we weren't able to see much. I did just find interesting though, and like I said, it could be for testing, but that the fact that it looked like tow hooks on the front, but then no tow hitch in the back, that was a bit interesting. Like I said though, we were able to see, obviously we can see, The headlights, those were very distinctly EV9 headlights. The Santa Cruz headlights we were able to see on there, where you could see the T-shaped in the headlights. So that was very distinct from the Santa Cruz, which I do think is a bit interesting, even though, Hyundai is, Kia's like parent company. Usually don't share the same parts like that. They'll do a lot of similar stuff, but usually Kia and Hyundais have their own distinct styling. So the fact that we were able to see kind of that hybrid, that mesh together between them, I thought that was really, really interesting. Obviously, it was, the vehicle was built for they built that test vehicle for the American market. We could see which side the driver's side was on. A lot of vehicles do that, and a lot of automakers do that when they come to test vehicles, though. I mean, it looked like it was up to, they say here it looks like it was up to US spec, but it's still pretty unclear. It's still pretty unclear what this is. Obviously, definitely we can tell that it is based on the EV9 platform. I mean, like I said here, it is still, it does just appear to be a test mule. Kia, even when the Tasman came out, did not give any press releases here in America for that. So it is a bit interesting to see what this is. We do know the Tasman's going to be in select regions, not here in America, especially, indicating that it's going to have that turbo diesel, which it is going to ride on a body-on-frame platform. This being all electric does give it a little bit more hope that it could come to America, but we would have to see about that, and ultimately too, we would have to see where this is going to be built. There is potential this could be built in the Georgia factory, but obviously if this vehicle was not to be built in the Georgia factory and outside the US, number one, it would not be available for those federal tax credits and the incentives, which would severely increase the price of the truck, and just wouldn't be very good for consumers. Also, it would also be subject to the chicken tax, which would be a 25% tariff, and obviously that would be detrimental and monumental to the increase of price for this truck, bringing it over. So we will have to see what happens with this. Like I said, there is, where the EV9 is going to be at Kia's plant in West Point, Georgia. There is a possibility it could be made there. If it was made there, that would get it away from the chicken tax and potentially give it that $7,500 federal tax credit. Obviously, depending on which state you live in, you may get more. But we'll have to see. We really don't have too much on this. We know Kia is testing them. We know Kia has said that they're doing 2 electric trucks. We do know that Kia is eyeing the American market and does plan to make an electric truck here. They have said that. But this looks pretty close to what it could be, but like I said, we just don't have any official details on it. So I'll have the link down below for this article if you guys want to go watch it. I'll have the link down below as well from KindelAuto. They have a lot of spy footage generally. They were the ones as well who I believe gave us the Tasman footage the last time, so I'll have them down below as well. Check out their video. Let me know what you guys think about this. Would you guys be interested in a Kia pickup truck, whether it was a full size or a mid-size? Does this make you excited? Do you not care? Does it matter it's electric? Would you even consider something like this? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, everyone.